Good morning.
Hello there.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, well, welcome to Dean Darley, who is a educator extraordinaire. He and his wife have both been dedicated to the sociological and educational needs of San Diego children for a long time, and a guy instrumental in the direction of my late in life turn to education. So, Dean, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm born and raised here in San Diego. I'm a product of Hearst Elementary School of San Diego Unified, and grew up in Del Cerro, and went on to Pepperdine University to study broadcast journalism. I thought I wanted to own and operate my own radio station. So I was in the media business for about 5 years, and then I got into some work with my dad in some oil and gas wells and ranching and cattle. That's why you see what you see in the background there. That's kind of my passion. And then worked for the Budweiser Clydesdales for about 8 years when they were at SeaWorld here in San Diego. And then I opened up my own business, indoor batting cage facility. Baseball is one of my passions too as well. And then from there, I got into teaching back in 2004 because I taught, or because I had my own business. That allowed me to qualify for a CTE credential so I could teach business. And I started at San Diego High, and the rest is history. Got into the Office of College, Career, and Technical Education in 07, and I've been there ever since. And I'm currently a program manager for the Office of College, Career, and Technical Education. So it's been a great journey, and it's been a lot of fun, and we still have a lot of work to do.
That's for sure. So my recollection, I was in my 60s and had sold a business after practicing law a long time. And my wife was an educator, and I'd worked a little with her when she was teaching in Omaha. So I thought I had the great idea of getting involved in starting a charter school. And I thought maybe I should learn a little about it before, going diving head first into the shallow end. I got a substitute teaching credential, which is, boy, it's awful easy to teach. You have to just pass this test they call the CBEST, which is really not very challenging. But in any event, they gave it to me. And shortly after I started, I'm in a class at my alma mater, Crawford High School, which in any event, I'm getting eaten alive as a substitute teacher in this criminal justice class when in walks this young man. Well, young when I first met you, and says, "Would you like to teach?" And I looked at him like he was nuts. I had my sleeves rolled up. I was sweating, kids here and kids there. And I look around the classroom, and I looked at him and I said, "Are you crazy? Look at this place."
I saw great potential in you, Steve.
Yes, you must have. So in any event, it got me started at, and here I want to show you something. Every year we had our CPA design a t-shirt. This was a copy of the original. This is like 12 years old. I have one of each.
Yeah, you're one of the founding fathers of the Crawford Law Academy, so you have a great legacy and a great history, because you got the ball rolling, and it's been a great academy ever since.
Well, it is wonderful, and it's a California. Let's not get all the alphabet soup mixed up. You work for what used to be called CCTE, College, Career, and Technical Education, is now identified as CTE, which is still known as college, career, and technical education.
Well, so yes, the big umbrella is career technical education. We call it for short CTE, career technical education. That's in the old days when you and I were in school, it's the VOTech Ed, or the old days, or it would be ROP, which was a funding stream and those kinds of things. It was a categorical funding stream, but career technical education has evolved over the years. And it is, we target high skill, high page, high demand occupations. The state recognizes 15 industry sectors. So every job in the state of California falls into one of these 15 industry sectors. We teach 12 of the 15 within our district. So our office is called the Office of College, Career, and Technical Education, because one of the things that, as we talked about in the past, college is not the ending point, right? It's getting a career. And we know that college looks different to many different people, right? It not necessarily means a 4-year university, but we know that we have to train students to move on to some post-secondary work, whether it be apprenticeship programs, or AAs, credentials, certifications at the community college. But the students have to develop some skills to make them marketable once they get out of high school and beyond.
Okay, and what we did after looking around and shopping a little is start a California Partnership Academy. Ours was the Law Academy. We were the first people to be granted funds from the California Bar Association Foundation, as well as the Department of Education. And what is a California Partnership Academy?
The California Partnership Academies began in the 1980s, actually, when there was kind of a reform for high school education. In California, we call them CPAs, California Partnership Academies. It was money set aside to run these academies, and these academies have certain parameters, and we really there's what we call a linked learning, or a small learning communities, is what we have been trying to develop over the years. And we have, throughout our district, we have these small learning communities, and they take on different forms. But California Partnership Academy is one, what we call kind of a linked learning approach. And it's designated money it's kind of like a school within a school. It creates a family-like atmosphere. And there are certain elements that, to receive this money, that have to take place. And these academies are generally 10th through 12th grade. They have a career theme. So in our district, we have 9 CPAs within our district. We have a Academy of Finance, Academy of Business. We have Academy of Law. We have a couple of health academies, and we have engineering academies. And we have a digital media arts academy as well. So they all have a career theme. They are approximately about 100 students within each academy, about 30 in each grade level. These students are unique in the sense that at least half of them have to fall into the category of at risk. And within our district, in our urban district, we generally don't have a problem meeting those requirements. And when we talk about at-risk students, we're talking about students with low attendance, low motivation, score below on their math and English, exams, assessments, ones that are socioeconomically disadvantaged. So they have to meet that criteria. And then in an academy, at least 50% of the students have to fall into that category. Some other parameters is that the teachers in the academy, as you will know, have to self-select, have to want to be a part of, and that is, and it takes on additional responsibilities. But the rewards, we like to think are worth the effort.
They certainly are.
you get involved, as you well know. But you create that family-like atmosphere. You give those students extra supports that are required and needed for them to be successful. And the students select too. They have to want to be involved in it. And then the other huge component, and we'll talk more about this, is that the business, the community gets involved in a couple of different ways. One, the requirements are that you have an advisory board. And as you know, Steve, you've been a part of that advisory board for many, many years. And the power of an advisory board is absolutely amazing. I know that you've raised thousands of dollars for students for scholarships. And then a lot of times these advisory boards also allow for funds, and they raise money that we can't spend on students because it becomes, state funds for personal use, and we can't do that. So it allows for additional funding for certain areas. And then the mentorship piece, a part of the program, and usually in the 11th grade, a CPA Academy will have a mentoring program where the people from the outside, from industry, get involved one-on-one or with small groups with the students, kind of help them through the process that junior year to that senior year. And so it's and then the kind of the carrot icing on the cake is that internship piece. In that senior year, we like to see in those academies, those students take advantage and have opportunities for internships. So that's kind of that CPA model. I always like to say, Steve, and you know this, is that these 10th graders come into these academies, and they're kind of like diamonds in the rough. And you keep polishing and you keep working them, you keep working them. And by the time they're seniors, they're shiny diamonds. It's when you get to see their senior exhibitions, or you get to know them, their senior year, and where they're headed and where they're going and from where they started. It's absolutely amazing. There's no question that these academies benefit students, graduation rates. There's all sorts of measures, and in terms of success.
And I really do think that has a lot to do with the teachers, being absolutely fresh and new to education. First thing we did was recruit the faculty. Mm-hmm. And you don't see today, or at least when I started, people out recruiting these kids that are at risk. And you name some items. They're objective criteria as defined in the California Education Code. So it's not like saying, oh, this kid is at risk because, well, he's at risk because he's probably not going to graduate. He's not coming to school. He hasn't evidenced mastery of any of the basic subjects that are required to go on. I mean, these are tough kids. And I was just so impressed with the people who are willing to get involved and actually go out and recruit these kids. I mean, and in almost every case, these kids had never been asked to do anything positive in their entire educational history. And then, coming out and say, we want you. I don't care about school. Why would you want me? I want you because you don't care about school. We're going to make you care about school. It was just such a wonderful experience. So now our podcast is, we're looking at how can we raise the level of civil discourse? How can we help build community, equality, and criminal justice reform? The way I see, and we're suggesting to those who might listen in, that there are so many ways to get involved in building community. And to me, this is wonderful. We have a variety of fields, from finance to law to the digital world, and every one of them. I mean, just if you're from that field, just to go in and speak to a class, or be a mentor, or allow a job shadow. And maybe after you've been in it a little while, you have kids come and intern. And that's a wonderful way to build community. And I know that you've had a lot of experience in generating that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, I know at some points in your career, you were spending most of your time, working on internships and the like.
Well, we definitely see, and that's one of the great things about CTE is career technical education. It brings the relevancy, it brings the work-based learning a piece in. We can do internships out of CTE, so it just allows us to open up that experience for students, which we feel like is really one of the most crucial things. That being said, we kind of talk about that overlapping spheres of influence. You have your student in the center, and you have 3 circles, and you have one circle being the school, but they can't do it alone. And then you have the parent or the guardian working on the student, on the child. And then you have the community and you have the industry also working. And in between, and those overlapping spheres, they overlap, and in the center is that student. And that's what it takes today to prepare kids to be successful. And we know that, just because they may be in a certain academy, let's say a law academy, doesn't mean they're necessarily going to or want to be a lawyer, right? I mean, but what you're doing is you're trying to prepare. These are things that I think we should talk about a little bit, because Tony Wagner, big education proponent, talks about, like, there's 7 things that are really the core that what we're trying to do here. One, we're trying to get students to think critically and problem solve, right? They've got to have these skills to where they can collaborate with one another. They have to have agility and adaptability, especially in this day and age, right? Initiative, entrepreneurialism. You're seeing entrepreneurialism keep resurfacing, and that is attractive to kids. And we need to keep promoting entrepreneurialism. That's what makes our country great, right? And then effective communication. They have to be able to orally and written good communication skills. And assessing and analyzing information. That's really, really important today. And then, curiosity and imagination. Things have to be fun, right? They have to make a connection. But those are those 7 elements that really ultimately we are trying to prepare our students, no matter what field, what pathway they take, they have to have those 7 elements. But those 7 elements, industry, people, the community, help support those 7 elements to get those students up to speed. So, like you said, Steve, there's numerous ways to get involved in terms of being able to be part of that overlapping spheres of influence. I still mentor kids from San Diego High Academy of Finance. I'm passionate about that academy, and I mentor. And a mentor is just a simple way to have an impact on 1 or 2 students. But I really believe that you get more out of doing it than the student does, in terms of just giving back, and just it gives you a perspective, and it feel like you can give back. But there's numerous ways in terms of what we call work-based learning opportunities. You have what you call kind of career awareness, what does that look like for a student? That's just where the students become aware of what opportunities are available. I remember former principal at Crawford said that with Crawford students, it's not an achievement gap, it's an opportunity gap. They just don't know what opportunities are afforded and are out there. And it's hard to believe, but we have students from City Heights that have never been to the beach before, right? And you think about that and you think, how is that even possible? But a lot of our students never even get out of their communities, or don't have those opportunities, don't know what's available to them. So that's why that career awareness, being workplace tours or field trips, guest speakers, career fairs, all those kinds of things that we try to do to at least give them opportunities to see, hey, I can do this. I didn't know about this, and those kinds of things. So from there, it goes to career exploration. So maybe that's a job shadow. Maybe that's you give opportunity for students to come in for a day, or there's a virtual exchange with a partner. One of the things we're doing right now is we have AECOM, the world's largest civil engineering firm. Each week, they're coming into our class. They're doing virtual Zooms with young civil engineers that have graduated maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And they're talking to our students and telling them what courses they took in education and what it took to get to become a civil engineer as a young person. So that's what they're doing. So that's kind of the career exploration piece. And then it moves to maybe where you get involved in integrated projects. One of the things about a CPA Academy or a lot of our academies is that we integrate projects, and then there's a showcase, right? And you present at the showcase. But those projects are integrated with the core academics. So you have the English teacher, you have a science teacher, you have a math teacher working on a project with the CTE teacher with those students. And then maybe you have an industry partner participating, or like First Robotics, where, you know, Qualcomm mentors the kids that have a robotics team and those kinds of things. So there's all sorts of, you know, career, we call that career preparation. And then there's career training, and then maybe that looks like the apprenticeship programs, maybe a clinical experience, or a little more in-depth internship components. So there's different levels where industry can get involved depending on where they feel comfortable with.
Yeah, and it is just wonderful to watch. You know, the community is just so generous with their time. I expected that the legal community would be supportive, but I had no idea. I mean, my first year, or our first year, I was the initial coordinator, or whatever. Is that the term?
Yeah, CPA coordinator. Yeah, sure.
Well, that was me, which would never have survived without you. I worked for 50 years, and I'd never had a job where I didn't have administrative assistants. And so here I am as a teacher with, you know, multiple classes and multiple subjects and multiple piles of paper, plus being the coordinator, which is a ton. When they give you money, you got tons of reporting to do. And in our case, we're reporting to both the Bar Foundation and the Department of Education, and you guys in the county Office of Education. And it's pretty amazing how dedicated these folks have to be to pursue it. But it's just so much, you get so much more out of it than you put into it. When I was first asked about what it was like teaching in my first few weeks, when I was really having a tough time, I described it as hours upon hours of frustration surrounding moments of exhilaration. When you see the light bulb go off in one of those kids' heads, you know, you say, oh, I get it. I mean, there's nothing, to me, there was nothing like that, because that's how you want to, you know, how they train themselves to want more of that. And pretty soon it wasn't hours and hours of frustration surrounded by moments of exhilaration. Had lots of moments of exhilaration, still plenty of frustration, plenty of aggravation. But you can get so much. I learned so much, especially because our campus was so diverse. I mean, which was a beautiful quality.
Well, they always say no significant relationship or no significant learning takes place without a significant relationship. And that's where these CPA academies, I mean, Steve, you know that you have had students, you've had the impact that you've had on students, and they come back even after they graduate and they tell you stories about, you know, you believed in, you know, we have all had somebody in our lives that has inspired us, or, you know, gotten us over the hump, or, you know, encouraged us and that type of thing. And the power of a teacher is still very, very significant, especially in students' lives today when there's not a lot of positive things out there. And so the fact that a teacher cares about them and wants the best for them and invests their lives in those, there are, the rewards are there.
Yeah, no doubt. So let me ask you, Dean, if somebody out there listening wants to, you know, maybe donate an hour or two, get their feet wet, how could they go about it in San Diego Unified? What would you suggest?
Well, our department, like you say, Steve, we spent lots of time working and developing opportunities to bring the industry involved. In fact, we have Nate Sacha Davida. He's our program manager for partnerships. And so I can, out of our CCTE office, and his phone number is 619-813-6490. And that's 619-813-6490. And his email is nsachdeva@sandy.net. And that's SANDI. So that's nsachdeva@sandy.net. So
Is
Nate,
that VA or VA at the end?
VA, V as in Victor,
Okay.
V as in victory. Yeah, V as in victory. So Nate's Sachdeva, and he is terrific with working with individuals, and he would be our first point of contact within our district. And then he, depending on what your what you're willing to do, or what your industry sector is, we have all sorts of opportunities. And it goes from, some of our partners like Rady Children's Hospital, where they provide, like at Hoover and Crawford and Kearney, they provide clinical rotations, at the hospital for our students, so over 100 to, like I say, all of our CPA academies are looking for mentors. We're always looking for guest speakers into the classrooms. If you have an expertise in something and you would like to share that and let people know. I mean, we have people that are surfboard design and make surfboards that have come into classrooms and talked about their work and how there's a need for designing and developing surfboards. All sorts of opportunities. So for ways to get involved, depending and no matter what you do in life.
Well, Dean, I want to thank you for giving us part of your morning. I suspect that maybe down the road, I'm giving you another call. And for those who have an interest in helping out, give Nate a call. Again, that's 619-813-6490. And we have the email. I'll be posting it on the resource page of the website for the CPA assistants. And again, I want to thank you. Every time I say Dean, I thank him for getting me to go someplace I never in a million years thought I'd find myself. And most clearly the most satisfying and fulfilling work that I've ever done. And just wish the old body was up for a little bit more.
Well, we appreciate all the work that you've done over the years for others and making a difference, which you have done. And no matter what your capacity is, you're still making a difference in others' lives and trying to better their lives. And that's what life is all about, right? Serving others, right?
We're building community. That's what
we're building community, and we need everyone can contribute in a positive way in life. So,
hey, Dean, thank you very much. And oh, by the way, how is Ralph doing, Dr. Ralph? King Ralph.
Ralph is doing great. He's actually in Florida right now on vacation, and he sent me a video on one of those Everglade boats. And he took a trip on a boat with the Everglades, but he's in Florida enjoying some sunshine and some warmth. So
good for him.
He's doing great.
Make sure to send him my regards.
I will do.
Okay, Dean, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate the opportunity.
Take care. Bye-bye.